If you turn a football game on TV, the announcers might be saying something like the quarterback is in the shotgun position, or they're in a double back set, and it can get kind of confusing as to what they're talking about. So in this video, I want to take a look at the most common offensive formations and what they look like. The offensive team can either pass or run from any type of formation, and all of them have 11 players on the field, so I suppose none of them would be any more complicated than any other. But you could probably call the I formation the most basic offensive formation. The basic I formation consists of 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 tight end. The running backs will line up with the fullback behind the quarterback and the halfback behind the fullback. The tight end is on the end of the offensive line and the wide receivers are out wide. So you can see how the quarterback and the running backs form this I. There are a few variations that you can make on the formation while keeping this I, like pulling one of the wide receivers in to be a second tight end, or the fullback can slightly shift to the left or the right side, and this would be called an offset I. One thing to note here is that the quarterback is what we call under center, which means he's directly behind the center. So whenever the center snaps the ball, he's essentially handing the ball to the quarterback. We'll come back to the alternative for being under center in a minute. But right now, let's look at another formation that's pretty similar to the I formation, and this is called the pro set formation, which is similar to the I formation except that the running backs are positioned to either side of the quarterback in the backfield. And again, we can have a variation on this where the wide receivers are shifted or even line up one way and then go in motion before the play. The next formation is called the single back set, which just means that there is 1 running back. And so again, there can be a lot of variations that are used. Maybe a team has 2 tight ends or 2 wide receivers, or more commonly 1 tight end and 3 wide receivers. And if there are 3 wide receivers, then this guy here, who isn't at the end of the line and he isn't out wide, he is called the slot receiver, or he's said to be in the slot. The last formation that we'll look at with the quarterback under center is called the trips formation, which also uses 3 or sometimes 4 wide receivers. In the trips formation, 3 wide receivers will line up on the same side of the field. And possibly there will be a tight end over here too, so it can get pretty crowded and confusing for the defense as to how they're going to cover all of these receivers. Although, of course, the offense also runs the risk that these guys could run into each other and they could confuse themselves just the same. You also notice here that there is nobody lined up behind the quarterback, so we would say that this formation has an empty backfield. Now, one common variation that we'll see with the trips formation is that the quarterback will not be under center. And if he's not under center, then he will be in the shotgun formation. So when you hear that a quarterback is in shotgun, it means that he is a few feet behind the center rather than right up behind him. So rather than handing the ball to the quarterback, the center will actually snap the ball back a few feet through the air to him. Here's a great picture.